Welcome. Welcome on board.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. How are you doing today? So, thank you everyone for waiting patiently. Thanks a lot. Can you hear now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because someone is saying they can't hear.
Rehana Shafwan. Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear us now? If someone can just say yes, so we know before we start. Okay. I'm sure they can hear us.
Yeah.
Yes. So for everyone who's joined us, Shamrin, so before you came in, I was just giving them a short heads up of why I decided to host. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Adil. Thank you, Rukia, for confirming that. Right. I was just telling everybody because people were asking, 16-year-old, okay. You know the question that we were discussing about why are you having her? So I said that's the exact thing that I want to break. And I was explaining to them about today how there is about so many billions of youth around the world. When I say youth, I'm talking about, adolescents between the age of 15 to 24 who are facing a lot of crises. And end of the day, they are the foundation to our society. And now lots of corporations, organizations, educational institutions, TEDx talks, everything, they're trying to bring in youth. And even schools, we are having MUN, right? So my
Yeah.
initiative is to give a platform for this wonderful lady over here, young lady as that. She's trying to make an impact. So let's see what she has to say. So before, more than me giving an introduction, it would be nice, Shamreen, if you tell us something about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a 16-year-old student, YouTuber, youth activist, and a public speaker. So I was born in Colombo and later on raised in Chilao. So I'm the only girl child in the house. And I've got two amazing younger brothers. And I went to Doha in 2014 when I was 9 years old. And I studied in Stafford Sri Lankan School, Doha, SSLSD, my second home, I should say, and returned after 6 years. And I'm currently in Sri Lanka right now, and which I believe is where destiny played its game. So I'm going to Broad Vision International School, and I joined this digital platform not too long ago. To be honest, I did not expect this much of a love and support from all around the world like this quick. So thank you so much for that. And I come from a very confined community where not all girls, get the opportunity to speak up or even come in front of the camera. So it is indeed a dream for so many of them, like different dreams, different goals and passions. So to start or to end, it all starts within home and within your own circle. So I was lucky enough to get parents to support me in my interests and believe in what I'm capable of. And my love for social activism and public speaking began at a very young age, like even younger than 16, like 10 or 11, starting from school essay and speech competitions, debate competitions. So that is where everything started. Hi, Zaini Data. That is where everything started. And I felt the real power of words and, voicing out important aspects, issues, and ideas. So there's the understanding of the impact of voice, the aspects, issues, the ideas, and the understanding of the impact of a voice that, every voice does matter and that they play a major role in the society and within our own community. Thank you, Adil. So I really have to thank my teachers here because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to realize my passion and do it confidently. So thank you so much, teachers. If you're watching me today, hi. They're my biggest pillar right from the very beginning. And I'm quite known for youth activism because I have a huge interest in humanitarian services, youth activism, and youth and women empowerment. And I still have so many dreams and goals to accomplish as a student. So, and many matters to bring into limelight. So hopefully I can succeed, inshallah.
You will, inshallah, and I have high hopes for you. So this was something that when after watching your videos and when I came across, I asked you, I was like a little bit nervous, but then I was like, let me ask her how old she is. And when I asked you and when you said 16, I was like, wow, okay. And what was I doing when I was 16? Probably, having fun out with my friends. So it was a surprise. So Shamrin, what do you get asked so often by others, like because of your age? Yes, and what is the question they throw on you about the work that you do? Negatives and
Yeah,
positives.
yeah, I receive, a fair share of both negative and positive comments, compliments, and feedbacks. But besides all those, some people worry about my age a lot, right? What I get told very often is, dude, you're only 16. Why did you get into social activism? Like, who's behind you? Like, as if I'm doing something unlawful. For those people, I would like to remind you of the current achievements of girls my age. So, Malala Yousafzai won the Nobel Peace Prize at the age of 17. Laura Decker sailed around the world at the age of 14. Saira Blair was elected into government at the age of 18. And Greta Thunberg, the world famous youth climate change activist, she's just 17, I'm sorry. So please tell me, age is a barrier to our dreams. It isn't. No matter how old someone is, if they have something to tell, if they have something to convey, make sure you listen to the message they're trying to convey. It might actually, be more important than we think it is. So I can, of course, continue with the names and stories of young people my age, especially girls. But they who have sparked movements, used technology to solve problems within their own communities, created art especially to show the world from their own perspective, and so much more. And a willingness to work hard for change, courage to believe we can achieve our goals, defining qualities of people in my generation. And I'm so proud to call myself I'm 16.
You should be. Because, Shamrin, you were talking about the tight-knit cultural background that you come from. And I am also from such background. But just to add to that, I think the issues that youth are facing today is not just because of the culture. I know it's a cultural mindset, but it's about, even if you see in the Western world, as much as the youth are trying to make an impact, there is always that taboo, okay, at your age, right? So it's not something that I believe that we are trying to, yes, definitely it's difficult for us coming from a Muslim society and back in Sri Lanka, how things are. But yet it is a topic that is, I think, being discussed and trying to being overcome by most of the youth across the world, right? And okay, Shamrin, okay, quickly. Now, most of the youth, like I think at 16 is the age that you really want to have fun and, go partying and even just have chats with friends. So what really drove you? Yes, you told what you're doing, but what drove you? Was there like a point that, it encouraged you to go on social activism, women empowerment?
Yeah, everything starts within home, so I believe in that. And I grew up listening to my parents sharing stories of amazing and empowering women back in the history, and also watching some of them like Michelle Obama, Jacinta Ardern, Malala Yousafzai, and of course Muniba Mazari. So I was actually brought up with those stories of amazing women engaging themselves in social activism. And I believe eventually I became one of them. Like, not really, but kind of. So that's what,
Oh,
like, my
that's really
interest.
nice. Nice, and thank you to your parents for molding you in such a way. So, which brings us to a topic that it is so important: the information that is given to the children, or what the environment that we inculcate when they are growing up. It makes a big difference, I guess, in
Yes.
developing their dreams. Right. So, what do you think are the biggest challenges, according to you, that is faced by the youth today?
Besides cyberbullying, real bullying comes first in the list because of the biggest challenges faced by the youth. especially issues related to body image, because I've seen that myself, and people tend to judge a book by its cover. So change the way you see, not the way you look. So one more thing, one important thing is about materialism, because we live in, hi Nazma sister, we
Hello.
live in a society that promotes materialism, and we are taught to measure success and happiness in life based on how much stuff we have, and especially based on how much branded stuff we have. And I've come across that. So materialistic view on life can result in dissatisfaction when one doesn't have enough, and can negatively affect a person's life. So the idea that some lives matter less is a root cause of all that's wrong with the world and the youth. So those two are one of the main challenges faced by the youth nowadays.
Okay. All right. So from these challenges, what is your biggest challenge personally?
Materialism.
Okay. So I guess that also materialism also it's because what is portrayed to the youth today, right? So I
Yeah.
believe as influencers, we have a responsibility on
Yes.
we can make an impact, right? So
Yes.
even I was thinking of conscious influencing, and when I saw your profile, it was really interesting because see, I have nothing against people portraying brands. I love brands as well, but how we portray it or how we show it to the world, especially the youth who are looking at these influencers and they want to be one of them, it makes a difference. So when I saw your profile, it was very simple. I guess it was to your call. So who are you, Shamrin, really? Tell me a little bit about yourself. What is your
Uh,
personality?
I'm just a typical teenager. I have a huge interest of music and hanging around with friends. So there's nothing much abnormal or different about me comparing with other teens. So that is it. I don't have any different personality. It's just like the normal interest all of us have. But because of what I've been growing up, the important stuff that I've been growing up around, portrayed by my parents, that's the real reason why I got into this interest. So
The
yeah.
reason I asked you that was, I just want to make a point. Just because you're driving yourself to a cause does not mean you have to give up everything in life. So that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to hear from you. You can have fun, you can do the normal things, but still you can have a goal. I just
Yeah.
want to take a short break because there's been a lot of messages, Shamrin. So let's just read it. Hi, everyone. Hi, Shafna. So if you have any questions to Shamrin, please leave it here. Hi, Nazma. Okay,
Mushtaq,
you will
how do you
deserve it,
define
Shamrin.
materialism in this context? Materialism basically is on brand stuff. So I think you've come across that too. He's one of my seniors actually.
Okay.
And yeah. So materialism is basically the brand. The main thing is a brand, because when a student brings these branded stuff to a class, that's just like a scenario that I'm creating. So there are some other people who aren't able to bring them, who can't really afford them, because I've experienced that, so I know how it feels, and I know how it what kind of an impact it will give to other people. So materialism is basically that comparison. Okay, we are much better than them, so that's kind of like a degrading kind of theme in this context.
So are you saying it is not okay to have something, a brand consciousness, or what is that you're trying
It
to?
is, no, it's completely okay. But what happens is with the mentality we put into, okay, we kind of underrate them in some kind of way. So it's completely okay to have branded stuff and to show off, but there is like a limit. But some people tend to go off the limit, and that's when the boundary kicks in.
What you're trying to say is some people are judged basically only by what they portray, right?
what they
Outward
bring.
and not by their personalities. Yeah, definitely. And that is, I think, not just for the youth, even amongst the adults, that culture keeps prevailing. Yeah, you have another message. You will deserve it, Shamrin. A 16-year girl can break the ice. We are behind you forever by supporting you.
Thank you.
Pencil
Thank
sketch.
you.
Uh, Zinhar, you're doing great work, Shamrin, from this age.
So, brother.
That's your brother? Okay, I'm Yazir. You're doing great being the voice of people around and an inspiration. We'll take more questions later, guys. So, right, Shamrin, what do you think is one of the biggest, apart from the challenges that youth are facing, one of the biggest root causes for today for youth not to focus? Because see, from my perspective, I have a 21-year-old son as well, back in university. So I know how, the mentality works. According to you, what do you think is the biggest distraction today? Or
Biggest, I'm
what are
sorry,
the
can you repeat the question again?
what are the biggest distractions or the root cause that why youth cannot focus towards their goal? Because not everybody
We,
works towards their goals, right?
yeah.
What do you think
You know,
is keeping
what
them?
matters? Yeah, what matters is staying focused. That's the hardest part in whatever we do. Like, we have different dreams and goals and we want to pursue them. But what matters most is staying focused. That is the hardest part. Like, we tend to, break up, break with our fields and, go into different fields. So, staying focused is the main root for this. But if you ask me, the destruction, it's the mentality we put in. We put ourselves into that mentality and we fall into it. So changing that mentality of ours will definitely help in some kind of way.
Excellent. So it's us within
It is
us,
us.
right? It's our barrier
Yes.
that you have to break, right? Okay.
Yes.
And tell me about the impact that you want to make. What is your cause, and what do you want? What is the impact that you want to make?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, what's the cause? What's your cause? See, my cause is women empowerment. Your cause is, I know, youth leadership. Can you elaborate and say what impact do you want to make in the world? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a mission kind of to see every youth learn and lead without fear, especially girls, because I want to bring that into a limelight. So, because every voice matters and every dream matters. So, I want every youth, regardless of gender, to dust off their broken wings and burn across the sky, to do what they are passionate about. And I recently got in touch with a few youth activists who are particularly working on this field and different backgrounds. So I will be working with them, inshallah, and thus we can bring this matter of youth empowerment in a bigger platform with people my age who also have a better knowledge and understanding of this note.
Excellent. And we wish you all the best to do that.
Much.
Can you give, see, from what you achieved today, can you give some strategies and tips? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simple things that the youth can follow in order to,
You,
let's say, focus, achieve goals.
the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask this question is the time when I got this opportunity to become the class monitor when I was in grade 5. So the whole class hated me for being the class monitor because I was a complaint box. I have to admit that. I wasn't a good leader at that time. I was bossy. So there's a complete difference in the definition of being a leader and a boss. So I didn't know the real definition of youth leadership or anything, and all thanks to some of my seniors in school, because I learned by watching my seniors. And the first strategy I use that I recommend to people is to learn from your elders and seniors. Not everything, but the most important qualities. And I've learned so much from my seniors, I have to say that. So youth leadership to me is self-confidence and the understanding of the purpose of what you're up to, staying organized, staying dedicated, leading from the mind especially, and just be you and be unique. Don't try to implement anyone else.
All right, thank you. So you were talking about a boss and a leader, right? Can you give me
Yes.
the difference between them? What do you mean?
Right. A boss is someone who, kind of like tells you what to do, kind of like commands you what to do. This is what you're supposed to do. But a leader is the one who will be guiding you throughout the journey, who will be, showing you the path, the strategies, the tips, and everything. So there's a complete difference between a true leader and a boss, and that cannot match completely all at once. So boss is someone who commands you, and a leader is someone who will be guiding you. Thank
Excellently
you.
put, Shamrin. Tell me, what kind of leader is Shamrin? Is she a transformational leader? Is she a transactional leader? Or is she a democratic? To give you an insight, a transformational leader is somebody who, from the bottom down, tries to make a change. Let's say a transformational leader is someone like Jeff Bezos, right? He made a transformation with his Apple. And a transactional leader is somebody who says, I will give you something, I want something in return. A democratic leader takes everybody's thing into consideration. He will listen to everybody. Let's say typically like what politics is supposed to be, but it is not democracy. So what kind of leader is Shamreen?
Democratic, I guess.
Okay. So
Because
you
I
take
love,
everybody, you try to hear the voice of people before making a call.
yes, and I love to learn and lead. So that is my kind of motto that I follow: learn and
Mhm.
lead without fear. So learning and leading, kind of a leadership.
Okay, you have a question. Let's take that. Actually, Shamrin, who is your real hero? Is it a Malala or a random one?
Okay, that's an interesting question.
Right, okay, excellent.
I'm so sorry for the network problem.
No, please don't apologize. It's the connection. As always, women, youth, we always have all these problems that we have to go through getting our voice out. But thank you everyone for your support and joining us
Thank you so
back
much.
again. Really appreciate it. Let's continue. Please type in your questions. Yes, thank you, Adil. Thanks for that. So please
Thank
type
you,
in your
Mahdi.
questions. We'll be taking it in between. So this is Shamrin Yaseer joining in with Mahdiya at Shafma Diaries. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shafma, because I'll be uploading Shamrin's video on that. So in case you've missed it, please listen to it and please share it. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Rukhaya, for that. So, Shamrin, like we were talking about your real hero, and I think you were saying it's your dad, and that's
Yeah,
where we missed it. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
that's
my
what you were
dad is
saying,
my real
right?
hero.
Okay, okay.
Just as any girl would say. So he has been like implementing. He's been my biggest role model, guiding me, and of course, my mom as well. But my dad is my biggest hero for what I do right now. Uh, yeah.
Thank you. So, Adil has a question before he leaves. Yes, my question before I leave: what does it take to be Shamrin?
What does it take to be Shamrin? Um, what does it take to be me? Like, do I have like a specific answer to that, Adil? Okay, what does it take to be me?
He's
As to my
throwing in a
leadership,
very difficult question at you.
yeah,
Yeah.
as to my leadership skills, I'm an honest person, so I work hard. I'm a dedicated person. So, what does it take to be me? Is just that's it. That was a very different question, Adil. Didn't expect that.
Honesty, and I guess being yourself and sticking to your goals, Shamrin, from the little that I know you. You're very
Yeah.
focused. I guess that's what it takes to be Shamrin. And thank you again for everyone who's joined us. Hi, Hafsa. And Malik is here, my son as well. So
Hi.
hello, all of you. Thanks a lot for joining us again. Right, Shamrin, I want to talk about the platforms that specifically in Lanka, since you're here, there, Sri Lanka, and also in the world. Is there platforms that offers youth leadership programs that you know of that our youth can try to get in touch with?
There are so many platforms and programs across the country and of course globally, but as to like specific things, there are platforms like TEDx. There are some inter-school kind of programs within schools and stuff. But the most effective platform is the internet and social media. The main reason being people prefer online over materialistic platforms like and programs. So and it does work perfectly if we use it in the right and effective way possible.
And I guess
Yes.
MUN, I'm not sure how many schools have it. They are offering MUN, Model United Nations. That's also a platform for you to talk about. But like you said, Shamrin, internet is a powerful tool, right? And
Yeah.
it can be, we have darknet as well, you know, it can be used in a very bad way. And we've seen internet destroying the lives of youths. I remember this challenge, Blue Whale, was it? Or where people were like using, I remember, yes, I cannot remember the name. So there are lots of things that you can take it
Ups and downs.
negatively,
Every
but
tree
there's
has
no using it. Definitely it
every
can be channeled in a
yes.
positive way as well. So
Every tree
there
has
was
good
a
and bad
question.
things. So yes.
Yes, yes, go ahead. I'm just trying to find, there was a question, so I'm just trying to locate it. Can't locate it. Okay, hold on. Um, okay, the question is not for me. I will answer that later. Thank you. It's for me, so I will let Shamrin do the answers. Hold on. That was an interesting question. I'm trying to look for it. Okay, Shamrin, how do you collect those details by referring to articles or etc.? So how do you collect your data, Shamrin?
I listen to podcasts. I watched read ebooks. So basically, I take around 2 or 3 days to collect that a piece of article for a single video. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work going on. So I use all my resources to get the details. So that's how I collect my uh,
Thank you. And not
information.
many youth read. So reading is very important.
Very important.
It's so important. And yes, we have so many podcasts, YouTube videos. There is very good YouTube videos that you can watch, which are
YouTube
inspiring.
videos.
Right, let's,
So you
I know
very
there
good
are lots
platform.
of guys over here, but Shamrin, let's talk about girl power now. So what do you have to say about girl power and finding your voice?
The answer lies within this question itself. Like there's nothing specific. Girls are power. Girls do have a voice. Like we do have a voice, quite loud enough. But what matters at the end of the day is who listened. So if that works well, both girl power and finding a voice will come into a solid understanding.
Okay, but what is actually, why girl power? Why there is so much hustle around girls? Because see, nobody, like, the question has become when we talk about women entrepreneurship, women empowerment, and you were discussing this with me as well, and I can relate to it so much. People ask, why are you guys always talking about women? Is there a lot of feminism? You guys are feminists, and you guys always want to say women are more powerful, we are not equal. So what do you have to say about this? Why is this all this hustle around women?
Yeah, first of all, you have to understand the real definition of feminism. Right? Feminism is all about equality. A feminist is a person who believes in the power of women just as much as they believe in the power of men or anyone else. So we're not here to change the world. We're here to change ourselves. Saying that, it isn't about making women strong. Women are already strong. It is about changing the way the world perceives that strength. So if you believe in equality, then you're a feminist too. And there's nothing wrong in that.
I guess the word feminist had to be raised because there was no place for women to make noise. If you talk about, even the creation of God, I don't know how many of you are believers in God here. Like, I know there are different beliefs. They say that there was a man and there was a woman who was created. So that in itself shows equality, and
Yes,
equality
women are
for me,
just equal
Shamreen,
as
like,
men.
exactly, exactly. But unfortunately, we need to make voice because we are not heard, right? So eventually, when you're not heard, the voice is more. It's like when you can't hear music, you need to turn it a bit more louder. So that's what I guess we are doing for all the guys who ask these questions. And sometimes these questions are thrown not just by the guys and men, Shamrin, but by women themselves.
Business.
Have you faced it? And what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, that's why we have to understand the real definition of feminism. Just because, everybody says that word feminism, why you all feminists, just people keep repeating the same thing without even understanding the real meaning and the real definition of it. So it is all about equality, and there's nothing different or much more than that. It is equality. Both men and women are as equal.
Definitely. So we have another question. Okay, Malik, my son has something to say. People with privilege don't recognize their own advantages. So when people try to equalize opportunities, they think that they are being oppressed.
Okay, that
Malik,
was
what are you trying to say here? I'm trying to read the question again. That's okay. People with so he's an activist as well in his own form and nature. People with privilege don't recognize their own advantages. Yes, definitely. So when people
yes.
try to equalize opportunities, that they think they're being oppressed. Yes, so true, Malik. Yes, people, when we are privileged, we don't understand that we have advantages of having certain privileges in life. And definitely, we feel like when we are not up to them, we feel oppressed. But I guess it's also about, making the best use of your advantage. Like if you see most kids, you guys are privileged because you have parents who support you, you have teachers who support you, and you have been given a good platform so that your voice can be heard. But then we are also talking about that's why people like us, people like Shamreen needs to stand up, because there are people who don't have these privileges, who there are girls who cannot make, who are being abused. And I did not want to bring in this subject, but I think it's so important. Youth are
Amazing.
being abused. They've been abused in different ways, physically, emotionally, and as well verbally. And there is no food. Poverty is one of the biggest issues that youth are facing today. Lack of education. Youth are out of school and lack of employment. So I know we cannot make a big difference with so many billions, but differences start small, right, Shamri? So
Yes.
what do you think? What do you have to say about this? These different issues that is faced.
Yeah, we don't understand the
Just a
value.
second. I mean, when men complain about feminism, this is one of the reasons. Oh, okay, got it. All right, Malik. Okay. Yes, yes, Shamrin.
Like, we don't understand, like just as he said, when men complain about feminism, we don't understand the value of something when we have it, right? But when we
Definitely.
lose it, we do. So as of the underprivileged kids, there are girls who are not privileged enough to know for like basic needs such as education, for health, stuff like that. So it is hard. It is. So we're trying to bring that up. So we're trying to bring that into a limelight. We're trying to bring that into a notice. So hopefully our voice will be heard anytime soon.
Have you thought of, Shamrin, making like a small organization where youth can reach out to you for help? Is this part
I
of your plan as well?
actually
Yes.
have a plan, and I will be getting in touch about that very soon. So Her Highness is
Inshallah.
something related to that.
Okay.
Her Highness is something related to that, which myself and a friend of mine, Shafia, so we created it together, and we, included Nazma sister and a friend of mine, Pratika, in it, and inshallah we'll be joining in more amazing women who have some stories to share as well. So it isn't especially about women, just because the name is Her Highness, but we're trying to bring in the real definition of this youth empowerment theme in.
Definitely, definitely, and I appreciate you for that. And so, can you tell me what does Her Highness? I know you're trying to make some introduce some women and their struggles, but what is the core value of Her Highness that you're trying to create? What is it? What is the most important thing through that?
Before YouTube, I've been searching for some organizations like that, but it never really worked out to me. So it was kind of a hard situation. Like if you really have something to say, but you don't have the right kind of like a profile or an organization to bring that into notice. So Her Highness, so that's what I thought, like after I created my YouTube channel and people started accepting my information, I felt like why not we just start one? So that other girls who were in the same situation, who are in the same situation like I was in, you know, they can have the same kind of platform where they can share their voices, where they can share their stories. So that was the main reason for why we started. So we just started it recently and we'll be continuing it, inshallah.
Yes, and you're doing great. Thank you. There was another question, Shamrin. Let me quickly take that. How does the ability of young people to make decisions in any and all areas of their lives relate to their overall empowerment?
Where's that question?
How does the ability, can you see that from Am Usman?
How does the ability of young people to make decisions in any and all areas of their lives relate to the overall empowerment? It is basically on how well you understand the situation, right? But you really have to understand the core point of what the exact situation is. So it depends on what kind of the situation you're in based on the ability. It really depends on what kind of situation you're in.
I think what he's trying to ask is the ability of young people to make decisions in all. Yes, they have an ability to make decisions, and does it impact their empowerment? And I think it does, because if you cannot make a decision by yourself, like I think you would agree with me, Shamrin, and how do you empower yourself? So what is exactly empowering oneself? It's making sure that you can make your own decisions by consulting the best practices around you and using empathy, because definitely you're not going to be selfish, so you're going to use empathy as well. You're going to have leadership roles. That's empowering. That's empowerment. Empowerment is not being rude. Sometimes these questions are being asked, Shamrin, like empowerment does not mean like you have the power to say no to somebody and be rude. Empowerment, so can you define that? I think that's what he's trying to ask. What is exactly
Empowerment is like unity. Right. If you ask me, empowerment is all about unity. Staying basically, we are united and we are working on different fields right now. So as to what I've heard from different people, youth of today have more of a unity, and we work on different projects. And our ability is, you know, we have different ideas to share. So I've come across with peers who have the same interest. So everybody has different abilities, so like, you know, it's kind of would implement on this.
So empowerment is basically powering yourself while you pushing others up as well, in simple words, right?
And learning. And
Yes.
learning with the situation.
And learning with the situation, reflection. Okay, I have a question from my husband, Shafraz Nilam. Shamrin, how do you manage between studies and what you currently do, meaning being an activist?
How do you manage between studies and what you currently do, meaning being an activist? See, I'm not like an professional activist. I'm just voicing out some of the most important issues, which is staying online. So there is nothing to interrupt with my academics. So is working in a different field. So I will be working with a professional platform for youth activism, inshallah. So that is when that time management, mental management will come into a light.
Definitely, and I think right now you're finding the right balance, and this is something, Shamrin, I think while you're doing it, if you can speak about it, how you're managing your time, how to properly do it, not to let's say you need to have a balance about within educating yourself and empowering others and doing what is right, because otherwise some people like they don't know the balance, especially the youth, and it can go wrong. So that
Yeah.
is, I think, what he was trying to ask. All right. So, do you have anything to say to the youth? Any other messages apart from what we discussed or the topics that you would like to address?
A message to the youth, you mean?
Yes. Message to the rest of the youth.
Be the change you want to see in the world and never surrender to circumstances. Because from my personal experience, I should say, the power and the presence of knowledge lives within you. It is here to accomplish, something. It will take you to all the right people you need to meet in. It will take you to all the right circumstances you will need to be in. It will free you from anything else that would take you away from recognizing or experiencing and fulfilling a greater life in this world. Therefore, like you said, do not waste your time and energy being angry at the world, condemning the world, condemning the people, organizations, or governments, but instead use the time and energy to build a profile to yourself, to build a foundation. So if you see you can do something productive, if you can make a difference, by helping by helping someone, serving something, or redeeming something, then give yourself to that. It might be your calling. So you don't actually have to be an adult to be a leader. We are leading, but our world has too many problems for one generation to solve. So today, for our elders, it is not too late for you to change as well. Because one generation can not literally solve the problems of what has happened all throughout this year, this decade. So it is also in the hands of our elders as well, besides youth.
So that's a request from Shamrin to the elders. Help the youth to make the world a better place. You have to make changes because you have the power within yourself, the elders especially, power of today. So if you use the power of today to make a difference, then yes, you make a difference for the power of tomorrow, which is our youth. So we'll take one last question from the audience before I go into my rapid fire with Shamrin. Is there a point where limiting or increasing in the abilities of young people to access unhealthy, disempowering things actually becomes empowering? Shamrin, you don't scold me for questioning you. Okay. I'll let you read that question.
I can't actually see that question. Who is it, by the way?
It's Usman. Can you see it now?
That was a very long question, by the way.
Is there a point where limiting or increasing the abilities of young people to access unhealthy, disempowering things actually becomes empowering? By limiting the abilities of young people to access unhealthy things, does it become empowering? So that's what he's asking. When you limit unhealthy things, does it become empowering?
Limiting unhealthy things, it has nothing to do with empowerment or youth empowerment. It is basically on how well you focus. It is basically on how well you focus on the specific matter. So limiting that on youth empowerment is it?
I think it's two different contexts because limiting things, who is limiting?
That was
Yeah,
a nice question.
it was a great question, but I guess what he was trying to ask is what I understood. You can clarify it. If you limit all unhealthy things from youth, which is not disempowering, does it actually make them empowering? So I think he's trying to make a connection there, but by telling the youth, not to do, or by limiting them from getting involved in unhealthy things is actually empowering. I think it makes sense. That's what he's trying to ask.
Yeah, it is like how hatred is
Yeah.
how hatred is a motivation. Yeah, so yes.
Who said that? I cannot see that question.
Fazlur Rahman.
Hatred is a motivation.
Hatred
Hatred is a
is.
very negative motivation. I don't think hatred should be a motivation. Hatred should be changed into something positive. Like I would say, Shamrin, we are reconnecting again. That's an interesting conversation with Shamrin. I'm going to go into a rapid fire in a few minutes. And her line is buffering up, so we are waiting for her to reconnect.
Yeah, we're back.
All right. So, guys, one thing that I would like to say is hatred, any negative thing, do not use it as a basis for motivation. Try to
Yes.
train or change the negativity into something positive. I always say this, jealousy is a negative ego, negative mentality, and we all get jealous, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can change jealousy, try to understand it, to find why you're feeling it. Maybe there's something that you want to achieve why the other person is doing it. So make that as a goal instead of using that negativity. So I wouldn't say hatred is not a motivation. Try to find why you're having that hatred.
Yes.
Sorry, Shamrin, I took your stage because you were buffering, so I took your stage to speak up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Alright. So going into rapid fire with Shamrin Yaseer. Before that, guys, a quick reminder. Please check out our YouTube channel. You can check Shafma Diaries as well. Shamrin Yaseer, she has a YouTube channel as well. I'll be uploading this into my channel, so you can check out the conversation in case you've missed it. Right, Shamrin, rapid fire. I'm calling it my lava seed because I guess rapid fire belongs to Karan Johar. So I'm going to call it my lava seed. So Sri Lanka or Doha, very quickly.
Sri Lanka.
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Dedicated, honest, hardworking.
Okay. Stuck in a ship for 3 days, who will you take?
My best friend. Tahani, she's here. Hi.
Okay. Hi, Tahani. Your mom or dad?
Dad.
I had to be very careful about this question, Shamrin, considering your age. So, okay, if you get ₹1 million, what would you do with it?
I'll build an orphanage. That is my biggest dream. I want to build an orphanage here in Sri Lanka.
Inshallah, inshallah. May Allah make it easy for you, and we will also the audience will also try to support you in whichever way they can, including us.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. A stroll by the beach or fun with friends?
Fun with friends.
If you were given a chance to go to Hogwarts, would you?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite celebrity?
Zayn Malik. Ah.
Okay. Kill, friendship, coffee. Who would you kill? Who would you have a friendship? Who would you have coffee with?
Oh my God. I'd have a coffee with Zayn Malik.
Okay.
Friendship. Muniba Mazari. And
Okay.
kill. Oh my God. I think I have to bring. Okay, can we just skip that part, please?
Okay, no worries, no worries. So you're alarmed because you're still 16. See, that works in your favor as well.
I'm not in a mood to kill anyone right now.
All right, Shamrin. So that's about it with our discussion. So if there is anything else that you want to talk about here, we still have about 5 minutes to go. Any other issue or something of focus? And while she's here, guys, this 5 minutes, if you have any questions, please shoot out to her. Any other thing, anybody that you want to thank?
There's someone asking how youth can make a difference. So,
Okay.
yeah, the youth of today are literally the leaders of tomorrow, and I believe that so much. In fact, we are in the process of changing by the daily choices that we make in every aspect of life. So if we look at it, the world changes because of the decisions taken and followed by the inhabitants of this world. So youth united together can make a difference. I listen to, inspiring lectures from some amazing thinkers and leaders, but I learned as much as same or more from my peers. And I'm still learning from people my age. And yes, young people are leading, yes. But our world has too many problems for just one generation to take in. So my question here is, why only youth and why not all, right? Yet we have long understood that a lot of work will fall on our shoulders. If you look at it in a global kind of note, we watched while those in power failed to protect refugees and religious minorities, stop attacks on schools, ensure justice for blacks and brown people, or even acknowledge that climate change exists. So we have grown up knowing that the world around us will be broken. So alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. So everyone taking that into consideration will be much appreciated.
Thank you, Shamrin. That's, yes, something important that you said. And I think the advantages that you guys have today, what we didn't have before, was the social media. And it connects you. The internet connects you. And also I've seen with social media, people really pushing each other up. There is not much of, I want to do better than someone else. Competitiveness is really good. But then I see people like trying to give equal platforms to others as well. And which is very, very appreciating, and not just amongst youth. I've seen amongst other ladies as well. Men, I've not noticed. I'm sure you're doing it, but I've not been, seeing it often. But I guess like what Shamrin says, if each of us find our niche, what we are good at, because not everyone can speak. So Shamrin, she's very good at speaking. She's very good at putting her points out. So she's using that as one of her platforms to create some noise. But you might be a kinesthetic person. You might be actually able to do something physically. So then make use of that in that way. Or you might be able to do it financially. Or you might be really good with making a noise through your singing. So there is different ways, guys. It just doesn't need to only be through speaking. So find your niche. Find what you're really good at to make that impact.
Definitely.
Okay, it's Usman again. Is he one of your friends?
I don't really know him.
Thought-provoking questions. Haha. Especially thanks for a friend, Shamrin, for answering my questions.
He's the one who
I'm thinking of you too, Shapna sister, for reading my question. If not, question would be, okay, my name is Mahdiya, by the way. Shafma is my page that I'm running, but thank you so much, Usman. Okay, how can Sri Lanka make a mark on a global, how can Sri Lanka make a mark on a global level? WRT youth, youth empowerment.
I think Sri Lanka now is doing an amazing job in terms of youth empowerment, because we are like going internationally. Sri Lanka is sending students into international competitions, and we are engaging in different activities internationally. So it is already doing an amazing job. Sri Lanka now is doing an amazing job right now in terms of youth empowerment, and I really have to say that.
Definitely. And thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for your lovely comments. And, thank you. Who's this? Thank you, Zahia, for that lovely message. So, in conversation with Shamrin Yaseer, it was very exciting to have you, Shamrin. This was a really amazing conversation. And kids your age, you should be bringing, instead of bringing in negativity, when you bring in positivity, and even if the impact is small, guys, it makes a huge difference. So yes. Please, huge fan of Sham, and good job, Sham. Thank you, thank you.
One of the
Okay, so
gym channels.
Shamrin, you've got a whole lot of fans.
Thank
So
you, Raja.
please, you have an amazing platform. So make use of it and do wonders. We are all rooting out for you, and we are watching you, trying to make an impact. So thanks to your family as well. For allowing me to host you today. I appreciate that. And thanks everyone for joining us. We'll catch
Thank you.
you with another episode soon, and I'm sure I'll have more episodes with Shamrin later on with different
Yes,
conversations. So
inshallah.
please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shafma Diaries and Shamrin Yaseer has a YouTube channel as well. And check into our social media handles. Take care. Have a nice
Bye
weekend.
bye.
Bye bye.